the, are there any additions to the agenda?
Chair, there are two additions to the agenda. They will, if it's your pleasure, be taken up on two separate motions as subsequent need items. One of them is regarding Assembly Bill 650, sponsored by Arambula, and it's related to the San Joaquin Valley Air District Board to oppose that particular legislation with more details during the staff report.
Okay. Your a motion on that?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, that means that we take up this item, seeing the need rose after the posting of the agenda. Roll call vote, please. First, any comment from the public? Anyone online? Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Item?
Thank you, Chair. And similar to the last item, Anita rose after the posting of the agenda related to an Assembly Bill, also sponsored by Arambula 985. There's a request to oppose this bill, and it relates to the San Joaquin Unified Air Pollution Control District related to emissions reduction and a credit system.
Your a motion on that?
So moved.
Okay, motion made.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comment from the public? Not, we'll bring it back to the board and vote.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay. No other additions, then we'll read the closed session into the.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. There's two items for your closed session. The first is under Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with your labor negotiators. Those designated representatives are Director Noriega and Deputy CAO Begay. The employee organization is all units, including unrepresented employees, all classifications, excluding elected officials. There's also real property negotiations discussion with your negotiator CAO Jay Varney. The APN number is 010092001. The address is listed on the agenda. Under negotiations is price, terms, and conditions of sale. Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll go to closed session. Is there any public comment on the closed session agenda? Anyone online? Okay, thank
None
you.
online.
We'll go to closed session.
Chairman Rogers and members of the board, Connie Marno Praza, your Director of Behavioral Services. I'm here to happily introduce our new Assistant Director of Behavioral Services, Ms. Atisha Wildwan. She already started working on stuff. She just started yesterday, so I'm so happy. And no more masks for behavioral health. We're so happy.
Come ahead.
Hi, my name is Itisha Wilban, and I am the new Assistant Director. I am excited to join you guys and to support this county.
Glad to have you here. Let's give her a hand.
Thank you.
Welcome. Excellent. Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Supervisors, Sarah Boss, Public Health Director. I just wanted to take a moment and remind everyone that as of yesterday, our WIC office in Chowchilla has relocated. We were co-locating with our First Five Family Resource Center, but we have moved as of the 3rd to Department of Social Services at 125 South 2nd Street. The phone number is the same. The hours of operation are the same, which is Monday through Friday, 9 to noon and 1 to 4 p.m. It's just a 5-minute short walk from the old location to the new. We have posted signs at the doors, but we of course have updated our website, have notified all current WIC participants, and we've shared information through social media, through all of our partners in Chowchilla as well. We have an excellent working relationship with our first 5 partners. We will continue to have that. The relocation was really due to the convenience of IT co-locating in same county department location. We also have a great relationship with DSS, and many of our referrals for our WIC participants come from Department of Social Services. So we do think that the participants will find it convenient.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Excuse me. My name is Javier Caltenco. I'm a Public Information Officer with the U.S. Small Business Administration, Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. In the state of California, they requested disaster assistance from the federal government. Therefore, the Small Business Administration is offering low-interest federal disaster loans to small businesses engaged in aquaculture, small agricultural cooperatives, and most nonprofit organizations. Sorry. And right now, currently, so the economic injury disaster loan, which is the loan that we're offering to businesses, it's a working capital loan. So therefore, those businesses who are suffering economically and they're having a hard time paying their rent, electricity, or any ordinary expense to run their business, they can apply for the economic injury disaster loan with the Small Business Administration. There's a limit of $2 million. And okay, the interest rate right now is for businesses 3.3%, and for nonprofit organizations is 2.37%. Up to now, we have approved more than $76 million in the state of California. That's all for this disaster. Now, this is for the disaster that happened between December 27 and January 31st. I know we have another declaration, but that's still being worked on. Yeah, and actually, it's if anybody needs assistance, we have disaster recovery centers. Well, actually, now they turn into DLOCs, which is disaster loan outreach centers, where SBA is there and they can come and they can apply in person. We have representatives there to assist. They can also call the 800 number, which is 800-659-2955, or they can just go to the SBA website and they can apply through the website. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
Any
much.
questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just have,
Go ahead.
thank you for that. Great information. I wonder if you could kick out some email, some information to us wherever, so we can put it on our public information site, and we can kick it out through social media so they can do those are great programs.
Yes, and also just want to mention the deadline to apply is October 16.
Okay.
Okay, I actually have a couple sheets that I brought in. I will leave them in the bag just in case anybody needs them. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and make sure we get that.
Yes,
Email.
I'll send you electronically. Yes.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much. Yeah, we can disseminate that information out to our constituents very quickly. Great. Morning.
Good morning. I'm Debbie Bray with the Madera Chamber of Commerce, and I'd just like to invite and remind all of the supervisors and members of the public to attend the May 4th Madera Prayer Breakfast. I believe you've all received information on that. One of the things that we did during COVID is the Madera Ministerial Association and the Chamber put together prayer warriors to go out to the different locations since we couldn't conduct the event. And that's continuing on today because we realized a lot of people cannot attend the breakfast. So the teams come out to different government agencies and other organizations that the group feels that they need to have, some prayer time. So anyway, I'd like to remind you of that and hope we see you there.
On May 4th, and what time is that?
6:50 a.m.
6:50 a.m. and what location?
Madera Fairgrounds, Hatfield Hall.
Thank you very much. Sure remember that and been to that for years. You have too.
Yeah, once or twice.
Yeah, once or twice. Yeah, absolutely. Any other public to comment? Anyone online?
Nobody online.
Okay, with that, we'll move to consent calendar. Any items for the board to remove to separate consideration or?
I just had a
questions?
quick question on item I, Chair, and then
Go
a
ahead.
comment on items S and T as well.
S and C?
T.
T, S and T?
Yeah, they're similar items there.
Okay,
and
item
it-
I, who's,
That would be our probation department.
probation, item I. Long consent calendar. I'm still thumbing through it. The item.
Thank you, Chief.
Good morning, Chris Childers, the Chief Probation Officer.
Appreciate you being here this morning. Super exciting to see these funds being made available to us as a county, but just wanted to check in with you. It's great that we're receiving these funds. And I'm sure at some point down the line, we might have an opportunity to hear more about how they're going to be used or utilized or.
We're actually utilizing them now as we speak. We have
Okay.
a wooden shed or actually a structure. It's metal shed with some wood framing for vocational training for the youth. It's going to be housing our welding equipment, some woodworking, metal shop,
Okay,
classroom type of activities there.
so we've already started
Yeah.
using the grant funds?
Yeah.
Okay,
Fantastic.
all right. And then, thank you. That was all. And then in regards to S and T, had a opportunity to speak with Miss Martinez over at DSS about this program a couple weeks ago, actually. Of course, in regards to the field education program for our college students at Fresno State, as well as at the Madera College. Just a great program. Would encourage our other departments to engage with our school systems and in similar programs. Would be great to see more opportunities for our youth to get involved in our government and get the training they need to be successful after. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really important thing to commit to your higher education. Lifelong learning is really important. In fact, reading this morning that 37% reduction in enrollment since 2010, 37% reduction in community college enrollment. Amazing. That's a big hit with a population that's growing. Really surprising. But it's important to learn lifelong, and I think focus on not only your career but just bettering yourself as a person. Lifelong learning, very important. Thank you for those comments. Anyone else have a comment on any other item? Okay, I'll hear a motion.
Move for approval.
A motion made.
Second.
That motion made and second, roll call vote. Oh, public comment. Any public comment on this item? Jordan. Any public comment? Anyone online?
Nobody
No,
online.
no comment? Okay, let's roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
The vote passes 5-0.
Let's take care of a few other quick items. 6E.
6E, discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with Pro West and Associates to assist with the assessor's office in the maintenance of parcel fabric during the hiring and training of a new mapping technician by the assessor's office in the amount not to exceed $100,000 and authorize the chairman to sign.
Brett Frazier, our wonderful assessor.
I was willing to wait until 6E, but I appreciate you bringing me forward in alphabetical order as the assessor's office. So this item, your board approved back in 2020 to start the GIS parcel fabric. I will tell you that having gone around the state and talking with the other assessors, they wish they were at the same place that we are right now to have this new technology. The money that's here, it's going to be coming from the grant that your board had also approved. And so it's not going to come out of the general fund, and this will be since our mapping technician had retired at the end of February. We haven't been able to backfill them because we're redoing the title of that to bring in GIS and any other mapping. So in this time, we'll have both salary savings as well as the grant funds to be able to pay for this and still not miss a beat when we have people that are coming in to get their maps drawn. So that's it.
I love it. Thank you, Assessor, for doing more with less.
That's what we try to do.
Yes, appreciate it. What is the pleasure of the board on any questions?
I'm just asking for public comment.
A public comment on the item? That, bring it back to the board.
Move to approve.
Motion made. Second. Motion made and second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir. Item
You.
6A.
6A, Behavioral Health Services Department. Presentation of a proclamation proclaiming April 2023 as Alcohol Awareness Month.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
My partner in crime. Hi, thank you. Connie Moreno Peraza, Director, Behavioral Health Services. We are here, first of all, to thank you for putting this proclamation in front of you to read on the dangers of alcohol use and abuse. I think most people are not aware that it is a brain disease. And depending on the amounts, the levels, and the type, it creates a lot of problems, not only for students in their learning abilities or work performance or injury or DUIs, et cetera. So we are here. I have my great partner here, China Parker, who's been the lead in substance abuse, who will share more points on the dangers and risks of alcohol. Again, Alcohol Awareness Month, the entire month, but we do it year round. So thank you so much for today's proclamation.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name's China Parker. I'm the Health Education Coordinator in Prevention at Behavioral Health. I'm just going to take the moment to read the proclamation for April, Alcohol Awareness Month. Whereas alcohol is a primary factor in the 4 leading causes of death of persons aged 10 through 21 and is the most commonly used addictive substance in the United States. And whereas young people who begin drinking before the age of 15 are 5 times more likely to develop alcohol dependence than those who begin drinking at age 21. And whereas the typical American will see 100,000 beer commercials before he or she turns 18 years of age. And whereas alcohol use interferes with cognitive and neural development during adolescence and impairs the development of the frontal lobe of the brain, which controls high order abilities such as abstract thought, impulse control, and decision-making. And whereas kids who drink are more likely to be victims of violent crimes, to be involved in alcohol-related traffic crashes, and to have serious school-related problems. And whereas a supportive family environment is associated with lower rates of alcohol use for adolescents, and whereas consistent and sustained parental attitudes can influence a child's decision about whether to use alcohol and drugs, and whereas kids who have conversations with their parents and learn a lot about the dangers of alcohol and drug use are 50% less likely to use alcohol and drugs than those who don't have such conversations. Now, therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Madera, State of California, joins the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence in recognizing April 2023 as Alcohol Awareness Month in Madera County and encourages all citizens to support efforts that will provide early education about alcoholism and addiction and increase support for individuals and families coping with alcoholism. Through these efforts, we can provide hope, help, and healing for those facing these challenges. Thank you.
Much. Any comment from the board on this? Any comment from the public on this? We'd like to give you this proclamation, get a picture out front. Item 6B.
6B, Public Health Department, National Public Health Week and Champion Awards.
Good morning again. Mr. Chairman, Board of Supervisors, Sarah Boss, Public Health Director. And this is one of my most favorite times at the board, National Public Health Week. This year, I'm going to skip the reading of the proclamation. It's in the packet, would encourage everyone to read it. But we're going to spend our time really celebrating some important public health champions in our community. The theme of this year for National Public Health Week is centering and celebrating cultures in health. And we have 4 different public health champions, 2 staff from within our department and 2 partners that we have closely worked with over the last several years that we would like to celebrate. First is Maribel Gonzalez. Maribel is a health education specialist with our community wellness section. And she was nominated for her ability to build partnerships and collaborations that enhance public health services to our most vulnerable populations. We want to give a warm welcome to Maribel, who'd like to just say a few words and honor her as our first public health champion.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maribel Gonzalez, and I'm a health education specialist for Madera County Department of Public Health. Thank you. It is an honor to be recognized for doing something that I truly enjoy, working with families. During these 2 years working in the public health department, I had the opportunity to work under 2 amazing grants: the Racial Ethnicity Approaches for Community Health, REACH, and CalFresh Healthy Living. Through REACH, I have been able to promote and support breastfeeding, nutrition initiatives, physical activity in community, and clinical linkages. I am currently serving as a co-chair at Madera County Breastfeeding Coalition, collaborating on the efforts to increase continuity of care and community support for breastfeeding. A total of 8 Madera County institutions have implemented worksite lactation spaces to support working mothers and continue their breastfeeding journey. Also, part of my work with the REACH grant was to support the reestablishment at the the Madera neighborhood farmers market in the city of Madera. This effort opened the doors to local farmers to be part of the farmers market, where EBT and WIC vouchers were accepted, increasing the accessibility to fresh fruit and vegetables for families in the city of Madera. As part of the CalFresh Healthy Living grant, we continue to work with Madera Unified School District staff, parents, and city officials to support the effort to improve community health by increasing physical activity opportunities. We do this by holding walk to school day events, implementing physical activity stencils in the school sites, and encouraging school staff to take part of walking challenges. I learned a lot from all these endeavors and projects, but serving as the resident champions, leader, and coordinator has really helped me to develop both professionally and personally. Working with this group of mothers, fathers, and grandparents has given me the opportunity to practice and appreciate the value of honesty, teamwork, responsibility, respect, and equity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we're honoring Sarah Rodriguez. Sarah is a nutritionist with our WIC program, and she was nominated for her kindness to coworkers and participants, her leadership within the WIC program, and efforts to promote breastfeeding with empathy and respect towards her clients. It's my honor to name Sarah Rodriguez as a public health champion and invite her.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Rodriguez. I'm a degree nutritionist in WIC and also a breastfeeding coordinator. Working with the community in Madera is amazing. They're amazing people and they inspire me to be the best I can be. I also would like to thank Public Health, the WIC program, my team. This is a teamwork effort. And without them, I wouldn't be here. And I look forward to continue serving the Madera community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have two partners that we work with a lot in public health. The first is Rico Peralta, who is the Director of Programs and Training with United Way of Fresno and Madera counties. Rico was nominated for his leadership in 2023 with a community health assessment that should be published within the next few weeks. And working with community-based organizations, he helped to collect data and build their internal capacity as well. His contributions also spearheaded the distribution of medical resources, including personal protective equipment and hand sanitizer during COVID. It's my honor to name Rico Peralta as one of our public health champions and invite him forward.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. So honored and truly grateful to be recognized in our work in community benefit and organizing. Rare are occasions that we can be, shown the praise and the attaboys that you kind of you appreciate, but you don't expect. And I just want to say, I look on the dais and I see fellow public health champions out in the assembly, folks from education and business and organizing and advocacy. And I realize we all love this community. We all are committed to service. And I just have to say that the last 4 years that I've worked with United Way Fresno Madera County have been really critical for my own lifelong learning and my own development, and really helped me to be a better husband, a better father, and a better son. So we look out at the assembly. I have my mom and dad here, 2 lifelong public servants in federal, state, and community colleges. And I have my kids here, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say, very important, I'm glad that this is coming on spring break so they could be here in the assembly, is the true measure of your service is not getting trophies, individual accolades, your report card. It's what you do for people less fortunate than yourself. So serving vulnerable residents in meaningful ways. And I really thank the Public Health Department, Sarah Boss, Stephanie Nathan, Dr. Paul, and the opportunities that COVID, these last 3 years have provided us with ample service opportunities to do meaningful work. And I'm really thankful that my kids could see that their dad, all the times that I'm away from home, all the sacrifice, that this is what we do it for, kids. Thank you.
That was inspirational.
It was.
All of you.
This is why it's one of my most favorite days. And last but not least, Debbie Bray. Debbie is our CEO of our Chamber of Commerce. You heard her earlier announcing the prayer breakfast. Debbie was nominated for her pivotal role she played during the COVID-19 pandemic by distributing public health information to businesses and her continued support to bridge public health resources to local communities and businesses in Madera County. Debbie, it's my honor to invite you forward and name you as our public health champion this year.
Thank you. Well, anybody that knows me will know that I would accept this on behalf of so many people, but it says Rico. But I never do anything alone. I work together with the team. I've worked with the county, I worked with the city, I worked with Madera Fairgrounds, most importantly, with the business community. COVID was a tough time for all of us, and the chamber and myself are extremely grateful that we had partners like the Madera County Public Health Department to be able to really provide the communication to the business community and those in fear of going to work, their employment, their number of employees that they had. And during that time, I also learned a lot also. And it again made me a better person, helped provide me with tools to be a leader to those who were in the unknown when it came to COVID. We also worked with the state of California in terms of distribution of PPE along with the health department. I never thought I'd find myself, and I'm sure that nobody else in here ever thought we'd find ourselves in a position that our world would shut down. And there was a lot of fear for a lot of the businesses and again, the entire community. So I'm just grateful for the partnerships that we had during that time. And they're also long lasting. So on behalf of myself, but also the Madera Chamber of Commerce, thank you.
So we want to come down and we'll give the proclamation and get a picture with all these fine people.
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment before.
Go
we
ahead.
go.
Go
I
ahead.
want to thank the Public Health Department for bringing this item forward. It's always great to make these accolades. There's a lot of deserving people, and I want to commend Sarah and her team. I was over there a few weeks ago for a Women's History Month celebration, and the camaraderie amongst the staff and the community was just amazing to see. I commended her on that because she's built that with a great team. And so thank you for doing that. Your staff was on point. I shared with them that I'm expecting, and your staff ran over and signed me up for a program for expecting mothers. So thank you for that. But they're just really on target. And so I thank you all to the staff for all that you do for Madera County and for our residents.
I think we have a couple other presentations too come ahead.
This is Arturo from Senator Caballero's office, and he has a few certificates for
Had a meeting with him last week.
Good morning, buenos dias. I'm Arturo Martinez, District Rep for Senator Ana Caballero. So thank you to the Madera County Department of Public Health for inviting us here today to present certificates to David Bray, Rico Peralta, Maribel Gonzalez, and Sara Rodriguez. In recognition of your outstanding participation as a public health advocate in Madera County, your commitment to becoming aware of the issues affecting our communities and your willingness to make a difference is commendable. Thank you for your commitment in Madera.
Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Imelda Ramirez, and I am the field rep for Assembly Member Esmeralda Soria. And it is my pleasure to be here today. So on behalf of the California State Assembly, I commend you for going above and beyond as a public health champion in Madera County. Your tireless efforts in as a Madera County public champion do not go unnoticed. Today, we celebrate your dedication to the well-being of your community.
Thank you very much. So let's go down and we'll get a picture with all these.
Almost.
All right, item 6C.
6C, Public Health Department, presentation of the Madera County Department of Public Health's mobile health units.
Okay.
Good morning. Simon Paul, Public Health Officer. I want to thank Chairman and members of the board for this opportunity to give you an update on the mobile health team and the vans, because we truly appreciate your support initiating this program several years ago. So yeah, we wanted to give you an update. The vans are here. The vans are truly beautiful. A lot of thought went into designing them, what equipment they needed. Our goal is to keep the footprint as small as possible to make the program as flexible and be able to go to as many areas quickly and easily. Our primary goal basically is to provide one-off services and linkage to care for people who are not receiving those services and not linked to care. We mentioned in the mission statement, innovative technology. With the advance of telehealth in the last few years, this is actually an area with huge potential. For example, our goal is not to become somebody's primary care doctor, but if you have somebody who may have fallen out of the hospital, discharged from a Fresno area hospital, they may live very far from the hospital, up in the foothills, have poor transportation. Again, we're not going to go be their doctor, but we can connect them with a telehealth appointment, which they couldn't figure out how to do, so they do not miss their follow-up appointments. And we can make sure that they're linked to the transportation that their insurance provided, but they did not know how to access. So again, with a simple visit, we can connect them to the care. They don't lose their prescriptions. They stay on their medicines, and the next visit they can get to because they're connected with transportation. Our additional goals, sorry. We also love working with community groups. There are many groups, especially where people may not be aware of the need for primary care services or know how to access, or rather complicated to access, medical care systems. So we love working with community groups. The services that we provide may sound rather straightforward, things like blood pressure checks, glucose testing, but the real issue is how do we deploy these services to be as responsive as possible? For example, with the closure of many of the rural health clinics after Madera Community Hospital closed, many people are planning to follow up with a new primary care provider, and it may be taking them months and they're not having symptoms, so it's kind of a low priority for them. But if we go do targeted blood pressure checks in those areas, we can pick up people who are out of their medicines, their blood pressure is high, and let them know that, yes, you really need to be seeing your doctor at the urgent care in the next week so that you stay in care. And that can help prevent things like much worse complications from either diabetes or high blood pressure that they may not have been aware that they were at risk for. So there's a real potential with these basic services to engage people, to link them to care, and make sure that people do not fall out of care, thus preventing worse health outcomes. Just to conclude, so that people may not remember, these vans were funded with one-off fundings from the state and federal government that unusually allowed us to purchase equipment. And by having the mobile vans and the mobile health services, we've been able so far to apply for funding and receive $1.5 million in funding to expand these services out into the community over the next 3 years. So they've already paid for themselves in the funding that we've been able to receive based on their presence. That's my quick summary of the program. And if any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I'm sure you get a lot of people that come to your to the health van and say, you know, I've been having this symptom or this problem, and you're able to give them a little bit of advice, like go see your primary care physician, and that sounds serious, or that may not be so serious, or whatever. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's challenging. We were just developing I mentioned the blood pressure is in my head because we're developing the protocol for that yesterday, right? And the staff need to know for what level of blood pressure, for what symptoms, what's an appropriate referral. Do they need to go to the emergency room, to the urgent care, or back to their doctor in the next week? You know, there may be times when by telehealth we can prescribe things, but most of the time the real issue is not a one-off prescription. It's getting the person the correct follow-up. If their blood pressure is high, a one-off prescription doesn't help if they still do not follow up or know how to follow up with somebody else. So linkage to care is really key. And the checks and the things that you mentioned are really to tell people, to engage them into care and let them know how urgent their need to get into care is.
And I know that during COVID, a lot of people put off care, and the results for many were disastrous. And I think this is a great program, getting making people more aware when they see the vehicle. Oh yeah, I need to do that. So it's visibility, it's awareness, it's being self-aware of your own issues. I know that that's very important. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I do,
Yeah, go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman. Hi, Dr. Paul. How many vans do we have?
We got two.
We have two. And or is kind of one in use at a given time, or are both generally out and about?
We try to have two teams and we're able to be in two different locations at the same time. So we can use both at the same time.
And where are these vans typically stationed, for lack of a better term?
A lot are at events. So it can be at the, the fair, at community events. We're happy if there's a community group that would like to have us show up and do screenings. It's on our website, the services that we offer, and people can access it there. And part of the thinking, the small size of the van, so that we'd be able to get up to the foothills areas, that nobody wants to drive a huge motorhome up to the mountain areas. Some areas you can't get to. So we really want to be able to access all of those areas. Right now, we're looking for groups that want us to show up, and also focusing on things like where we may know, like in the closure of the health clinics, that there's a need.
Okay, so is it something where if there aren't events going on, we can request?
Yeah, no, we're
And
happy
to be
for all
somewhere at
requests
any given
to
time.
get people for different things, and schools may want help with vaccinations. So there may be much more targeted things. Big Sauce needed tuberculosis screening for all of their staff, and we're able to provide that for them on site, so they don't have staff leaving, using up time off to get testing done at an offsite location that everybody walk through. So we're able to do much more focused things, not just so the list of services on the website, and people can request what they think makes most sense for their event or their group.
Okay, great. And then lastly, can you identify the person in this picture?
That's what I said before the presentation. I like to know exactly what's in all the slides. I'd asked about the other one, but no, I don't know.
Looks like Mayor Santos Garcia.
Mayor Santos?
Perfect. I was too focused on my notes. And actually, we do have the mobile health team staff here, so I'd like to recognize them and stand up so people know who they are. They've done a huge amount of work, both the planning for the vans, developing the program, and figuring out what resources needed.
Excellent. Any more questions?
Oh, the vans are here. Yeah, the
Yeah.
vans are out front.
Yeah, we're gonna take a little 10-minute break or 15-minute break and go out and look at the van. And so we're gonna do that right now.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Oh, public comment?
Yeah, I did ask for it. Thank you.
relating to smoking, waive the first reading. Introduction of an ordinance amending chapter 9.11 of Title 9 of the Madera County Code related to smoking, waive the first reading and set the second reading to April 18th, 2023.
Come ahead.
Thank you. Hello, good morning, Mr. Chairman and the members of the board. My name is Tiara Munoz, and I'm the program manager for the Community Wellness Section at Madera County Department of Public Health. I am here before you today for the first reading of the amendment of Chapter 9.12 of Title 9 of the Madera County Code relating to smoking. I have here today two members of our Youth Coalition, SWAT, Students Working Against Tobacco. They're going to be presenting on their current efforts toward creating smoke-free spaces within the County of Madera. Hello, my name is Ingrid Ortiz and I attend Matilda Torres. I'm currently a senior. My name is Eileen Orduna. I am also a senior at Matilda. So we first want to start off with the mission, vision, and guiding principles of the health department. Well, we want to thank you guys for having us here and giving us the opportunity to present on what our youth coalition and adult coalition is about and what we hope in Madera County. The Madera County Tobacco Coalition has been organizing since 1990, and the Students Working Against Tobacco Youth Coalition, or SWAT, was established in 2018 for youth in Madera County. Both coalitions work together with the shared goal of leading a movement against tobacco use. We do activities such as community education, surveys, leading town halls and educational meetings, and advocating for health policies. A lot of community efforts. A major highlight for our youth coalition is supporting the passing of smoke-free parks policy in Chowchilla in 2021. In the pictures you see here, that is us with former Mayor Diana Palmer cleaning Veterans Memorial Park after the policy passed in Chowchilla. The smoke-free parks policy passed in Madera in 2019, and we're still working on educating the community. We also did a few butt hunts over the past year. A butt hunt is when we pick up tobacco waste like cigarette butts, lighters, cigar packaging, and etc. From personal experience, I did participate in a butt hunt. It was in a park right next to where I live. And even though there was like 2 signs saying smoke-free parks, we still found quite a bit of cigarette butts. We know we're seeing a rise in e-cigarettes and vapes, especially among young people. The most common type of waste we find are cigarette butts. A few facts. Did you know that even 1 cigarette butt is enough to poison a dog or a small child? And it takes over 7 years for toxic cigarette butts to decompose in our environment. Over 1,500 cigarette butts have been collected in parks of Madera County, even with the ones that say smoke-free. A few of the policy efforts we have done so far. We had a council presentation and we had a state advocacy. The pictures above show our trip to Sacramento, I believe around 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we were talking about the tobacco use and it being an issue in our community. We were standing with Luis Quinones, the chief of staff for Senator Caballero, and we actually had a conversation about the issues in our community. One of the issues I did mention was wanting to have smoke-free multi-house units, and the second issue being smoke shops close to schools in our community. So some of our current goals, number 1, supporting smoke-free environments, and number 2, reducing youth access to tobacco. So now that we shared a few highlights with you guys, here is what we're currently working on. We continue to raise awareness about the smoke-free parks policies that passed in the city of Madera and Chowchilla, and the need for more smoke-free environments. This includes smoke-free parks in the Madera County. Many communities like ours have adopted a smoke and free vape
and park policies to protect the health of their residents, including the city of Madera, Mariposa County, Ridley, Sanger, Fowler, Firebaugh, and Fresno. As part of SWAT, we have dedicated a lot of time to educate our about the dangers of tobacco, but we need Madera County support. We hope to have your support in passing the ordinance you have before you to create smoke-free parks for Madera County so that all our residents can benefit from this.
So one of our main goals in the ordinance updated, and the changes would include the updated definition of electronic smoking device and smoking to include cannabis and vape. Because as we know, even though cigarettes are a huge issue, vaping is rising up, especially within the teen community. So it's important to have that mentioned in the signs. We also want to prohibit smoking in outdoor dining spaces and recreational areas like parks, because again, a lot of our youth does hang out there and we don't want them to get exposed to secondhand smoke as that's a huge issue in our community. And changes to other existing definitions to make the ordinance clear and more comprehensive. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to just, you're not through yet? Yeah, I'd like to congratulate you on your focus and your efforts. I was with you in Chowchilla on that very day we picked up trash and cigarette butts. And I was at the 15th Street Park. And my wife and I did that part of that park. And man, oh man, I filled half a bag with cigarette butts. I couldn't believe it. Just crazy. But I also want to say that I appreciate you including cannabis in your thoughts there as well, because I know that at grade school level, my wife sits on the elementary school board, and this year alone, within 2 months, they have had to expel 20 students for cannabis use in elementary school. 20 students. That's just hard to believe. And they've never had this issue like they've had it this year. And it's just shocking to me. And I appreciate your efforts, because for one, it's just nice to see young people focused on good things. And for two, it's a worthy cause. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, I'd
Go
just like to follow up on your comments in regarding cannabis and thank you again. Thank you so much for leading the charge here, and you're showing great leadership and keep up the great work and also talking about I think one of the issues with cannabis is that when it was presented for legalization and talked about for many, many years, the emphasis was on the health benefits of cannabis, the medicinal uses and things of that sort. So people in their minds, it's something like, oh, well, it's good. It's a good thing. And it's not going to, well, there might be a few elements in marijuana that potentially have, pain reduction opportunities. But on the other hand, the smoke itself has a lot of the same carcinogens you find in tobacco. And there's a lot more work that needs to be done to find out how unhealthy it is. And beyond that, it's just annoying. There's a lot of people, you walk down streets and you get overcome by, people toking, and it just is, and again, it's just and it's just like, what are you guys doing? And it's, to me, it's as big of a nuisance as cigarette smoke is in terms of how uncomfortable it is and how distasteful, the smoke is and so forth. So anyway, thank you very much. And if there's anything that, we can do as a board of supervisors, and I know that our public health department's been a great support, let us know. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Supervisor, anybody else? Yeah.
I'm just curious, were either of you at I think it was a mock board meeting back in 2020 when we had our civics day and the SWAT team came and they actually did a mock board meeting where they passed this ordinance like 3 years ago, the participants did. So, and I think it was actually at that time that the previous board decided they wanted to move forward with this ordinance. So thank you to the both of you, and thank you to Public Health for bringing this item forward and helping to ensure that we have those smoke-free parks throughout the county. Appreciate it.
And yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize how secondhand smoke affects people, and how many people die from the effects of that. And I know my wife suffers to this day because her mother smoked for years and years. Her mother died of COPD, and then she's had asthma as a result of 20 years of living with mom's secondhand smoke. So it's just a serious issue, and there's nothing worse than seeing somebody suffer in the end of their life with that kind of sickness. It's really, really sad. So thank you again.
Mr. Chairman, with
yeah.
that, thank you ladies for bringing this item forward, and I'd like to move for approval.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comment from the public? Roll call vote.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. You have a unanimous vote there. Well done, ladies. You've affected the community in a positive way. So that's a good thing. You can put this down. You know what? Let's get a picture with these young ladies. They deserve that. Let's get a picture. Really a great thing to have young people as a force for positive change in their community. That's great. Love to see that. If we had more kids like that, we'd have less problems. More parents raising kids like that. That's the problem. Right? Parents, not the kids.
But also the focus of high schoolers, right?
Yeah.
High schoolers that are pushing, agendas forward and getting in the public square. And I know I wasn't doing that in high school. So
Neither. I admire them. Great. I just love to see them in the future, what their future is going to be like. Great leaders. Okay, the next item, 6E. Oh, we've already done 6E. 6F.
6F, Human Resources Department, discussion and consideration of approval of the receipt of an unanticipated revenue number 22-148 in the amount of $371,288 derived from the general fund fund balance to human resources professional and specialized services for fiscal year 2022-2023.
Right.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Roman Noriega, Human Resources. On April 5th, 2022, your board approved Coffin Associates to conduct a countywide classification and compensation study. We are requesting approval to reappropriate the approved funds for the study to this fiscal year. They were not encumbered. I just want to also emphasize that this is not a request for additional funds for the study.
Any questions from the board? Any questions
Was
from
that
the
just an
public?
oversight?
Yes and no. I don't think the funds were necessarily needed, or all the funds weren't necessarily needed for this fiscal year. So they were put back into the general fund until they were needed. And so now we're at that point, and so we're requesting to reappropriate.
Any comments from the public on this item? I'll bring it back to the board. What's your pleasure?
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been approved. Let's,
Supervisor Walmhoff,
Yes.
Supervisor Portress.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
6G.
6G, Human Resources Department, payroll schedule adjustment side letters, various bargaining units. Discussion and consideration to adopt a side letter of agreement with clerical, communications dispatcher, correctional officer, deputy probation officer, mid-management, postgraduate licensed professional, peace officer management, probation administrators, probation management, professional service, and clerical bargaining units regarding a new pay period effective April 1st, 2023. Discussion and consideration to extend the terms of the side letters of agreements in recommended action number 1 as approved to current eligible unrepresented employees, including department heads, effective April 1st, 2023.
Thank you for reading all of that. I know that that was a mouthful. Good morning again, Roman Noriega. So the county has changed its payroll schedule from a projected or estimated pay schedule to an earned or actual time pay schedule effective April 1st. The change will improve processing and mitigate or eliminate payroll inconsistencies going forward. Each of the 13 bargaining units have agreed to this change. So the items 9393 action 1 and 2 are for that change.
I want to congratulate you on getting something done that we couldn't get done for, it seemed like 10 years. We've been trying this for 10 years and finally getting it done. It's great. Well done.
Thank you. It was definitely a team effort with the auditor's office and working with our staff and administration. Joel Begay was instrumental in this as well. So I definitely want to recognize him.
Yeah, so one of the reasons this is very important is that we were losing money as a result of these not being actuals. When someone would leave, our employee would owe us money and we could not collect it. So basically it's lost money at that point. And it was quite significant happening. So I'm grateful for the change and grateful for the work done. Or loss of funds due to that. Any other comments? Public comment on this item? Not, I'll bring it back to the board.
Mr. Chair, I do have one
ahead.
question, comment. So the explanation is a little bit complicated. So is there going to be something that's sent out to the staff? I know that the bargaining units are signing off on it, but something more simplified for the staff to understand what their options are. Is that going to be available?
Yeah, so we sent out a countywide communication on this change last week, I believe. And we've had a Q&A session with department heads and our payroll reps on how we're going to administer some of these changes. And we're also taking questions directly from staff on some of their options because they do have options with the change that we want to make sure that they're informed about before they elect what direction they want to go in terms of the OTOP. And I think we've talked about that. So we're getting a lot of questions on that we're answering.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Good question. Any other questions? Not? Pleasure.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
okay, motion and second, let's vote.
Supervisor Walmhoff,
Yes.
Supervisor Portress.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, 6H.
Public Works Department Administration Division Services, Measure T, Road 200, Bridge Project, Cash Flow. Discussion and consideration of approval of receipt and unanticipated revenue number 22-140 in the amount of $6 million derived from HSR Amendment 2 Fund Balance 2 Operations Transfer Out ACO Fund for fiscal years 2022, 2023. Discussion and consideration of approval of receipt of unanticipated Revenue number 22-143 in the amount of $6 million derived from Measure T RMA Roads operating transfer in to Ultra Fund transfers for fiscal year 2022-2023.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Andrea Saldati, Deputy Director with Public Works. Before you today is an interim cash flow loan from our high-speed rail settlement. It is interim until the MCTC Measure T funds are made available to complete the project, which should be in the end of June, which is what we're being told from MCTC. So it's a very short-term loan in order to finish the Road 200 bridge project.
Great to have that money to be able to revolving fund things that are gonna, where it's gonna come back. We'll have it. That's awesome. And that made me think of RCRC's program. I don't know if they still have it or not, where they, if you have a grant, they have funding, or if you have a grant or anticipated funds, it's up front funding money that they can loan us to get those projects done. They still have that
Yes.
program. Yeah, it's good program. And they have they've earned the money through their programs to be able to do that for the member partners. So really a great program. Anyway, any questions from the board or the public on this item? Question from the public?
Chair, just a
Yeah,
quick
go
comment.
ahead.
Just want to thank staff for bringing this forward under public discussion, so that way we can do this kind of transparently, similarly to how we did with the HR item just a moment ago. Kind of let the public know that yes, these funds are being expended, and this was pretty much always the plan. So thanks again for bringing it forward. And just wanted to take the quick opportunity. I know Jared's here, and I know a concern on the Road 200 bridge has been, damage as a result of the first winter storm that we had in December and January. My understanding, no major issues there, and that the project is nearing completion, just kind of waiting on the approach or.
Yeah, good morning, Chairman, members of the board, Jared with Public Works. Yeah, so the bridge itself did not sustain any damage during the storm. The false work for the bridge did get wiped out by that first storm, which, took some more work to get that all cleaned up and pick up things out of the riverbed. But there was no damage to the structure itself. In fact, if you drive by there, at least I went back there by there last week, and there's a crane parked on it. So it sounds like it's holding up well. In terms of the schedule, we have been put behind, of course, by the weather and the issues that we've faced. But I believe they're looking to get back out there starting this week and start working on those approach roadways to get that finished up and the final items. So we're looking at, as Andrea mentioned, probably mid to late June by the time we finish. We were pushed back about a month and a half from all this weather. So, but things are on track and we're doing well.
Perfect. Great. Thanks, Jared. Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you. Okay, any further questions? Any from the public? Anybody online?
None online.
Okay, pleasure.
Move to approve.
Items 1 and 2,
Yes.
I'll second.
made in second. Let's vote.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Supervisor Portress?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh?
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chairman Rogers?
Yes.
A vote passes 5-0.
Great, thank you. The pending legislation that we voted on earlier. Yeah, Jay. Take them one at a time here.
Okay, thank you, Chair and Board. You have two draft letters in front of you regarding proposed legislation that has to do with our San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District. We have received copies previously from the Air Pollution Control District opposing this legislation. The one that we'll talk about first is AB 650, proposed by Assemblymember Arambula. This one in particular has to do with expanding the board to where there would basically the board would remain the same, except there would now be 6 appointees by the state versus 2. I don't know what the board's pleasure is, but it seems to me that you've already got a 15-member board made up primarily of local government and tribal representatives. It seems to function well, and it seems to currently take care of the local concerns So we assumed that you would want to oppose this expansion of Sacramento's control over a local entity.
Any questions from the public on this item? Not, bring it back to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to support or approve the opposition letter to AB 650.
Second.
Motion made in second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamha,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. The second letter that's before you is AB in regards to opposing AB 985. It's also proposed by Assemblymember Arambula. Has to do with the current emission reduction credit system, and even the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District, which you are a member of, opposes this legislation and makes, but the bottom line, I can't explain all the science in the letter, but it makes it so restrictive that even the SJV APCD believes that this would be very restrictive to anything that's going on in the valley. And if you're familiar at all with our air pollution control district, they're extremely restrictive now, and they try to help you as much as they can within those guidelines. And this would, I think, I don't know, I haven't talked to their staff, but it sure seems like this puts them in a position where they can't even help us because things would be so restrictive that there'd just be no way around it.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any question from the public? Any comments from the public? If not, we bring it back to the board. Let's roll call vote.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamha,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Supervisors and staff reports. Supervisor McCauley.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Had two speaking engagements last week, one with the Madera County District 5 Republican Party caucus, and then one a town hall for disaster recovery in regards to the most recent series of winter storms. Both were very well attended. So want to thank the team there at the Republican caucus for putting the meeting on, as well as staff and many of our partner agencies for attending during the town hall. So thanks to all.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one thing I'd like to report on. Last week, our San Joaquin Regional Policy Council group had our Valley Voice trip to Sacramento and to lobby on behalf of or advocate on behalf of our San Joaquin County delegation and the various projects here in the San Joaquin Valley. It seems like our efforts that have been stepped up through MCTC and other avenues are making, we're definitely, there's a great more deal of awareness as far as what our issues are. I know the Mark Tollefson, who's the CalSTA undersecretary, joined us at a lunch meeting. And one of the first things he said to me is, I understand that your, one of your main issues or main arteries that you're advocating for is Highway 99. I know that's really important. And I said, yeah, because it really is important if we're going to do all these other multimodal type of projects. So our delegation is our electeds actually in Sacramento are fairly new. We had 4 new assembly / Senate folks representing us. So it was kind of new to them, some of them, as far as what some of our efforts are. But I think it was overall very successful, and we're getting more traction. It's still going to be a heavy lift, but I know our Valley members up and down the Valley, the legislators are very supportive of what we're doing.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate your efforts on that behalf too. Really, really great. It's a lot of work into that transportation board. Keep pounding, my friend. In due season, you will reap. I attended the Regional Health Authority last week. Also was privileged to do the State of the County speech at the EDC luncheon. And I think, it was very positive luncheon, very appreciative of Darren Rose, our new director for the EDC, did a good job there. And a lot of good things are discussed. It seems that on every front, Madera County and its cities and all encompassing are climbing together. So it's a great climb.
Climb on.
Climb on. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Also, I had a great meeting with the staff of John Duarte, our congressman, and they're working on levy certification for the county, and that's been a real problem. We had some levies decertified recently, and just at a whim in one levy district, a whim of the Corps of Engineers. So they're going to work on finding out why and what and when and where, and trying to maybe make a legislative fix on that for us. Also talked to them about the Buchanan Dam site and the necessity of raising that to store an additional 50,000 acre feet of water every year, which would be fantastic for our region. Really thrilled to see all of the efforts put forth on the levees to preclude any flooding problems. The sheriff had a great insight into asking for a flood specialist to come to our county because at this point, over 3 miles of levee have been shored up using, I don't know remember what they call the rock, but special rock that they use for that specific kind of thing. 3 miles. Can you imagine if that busted out? 3 miles of tremendous water would be flowing into this basin, and we're just real happy that they were able to get that remediated. And I say to the sheriff and his staff, good call, and thank you for being on watch for us. Appreciate it. Supervisor Wamhoff.
Reiterate state of the county. It was great, and thank you for speaking in your words regarding the county. I also want to congratulate Darren Rose on a successful event, and it was put on very well, and the staff there at EDC. Last week, I also did a tour of our public health department with Public Health Director Sarah BOS, toured the facility and got to see what happens on the inside and plans for expansion and all the things that that they're facing as well, trying to keep the residents of our county safe and healthy. And later that day, I also had the privilege of attending a highway dedication for CHP officer Charles D. Goss, who lost his life in 1955, the day after Thanksgiving. And it's been a long time coming, but with the help and assistance of CHP Commander Hector Madrigal, Assembly Member Frank Bigelow, and our very own Micah Flores, who helped get that highway dedication done. And it was nice to be there. Officer Goss's 3 daughters were there, and it's really special to see that after 67 years that their father could be honored in that way. It was really special. It lets them know that our public servants are, our CHP Madera officers are not forgotten, and it was really important. Last Friday, I attended a PG&E Local Leader Energy Roundtable in San Ramon. It was a day trip going up and back, and it was, we got to experience some of the technology that PG&E is using to improve upon safety, and it was enlightening to see. But also you see how expensive safety is as well. And being in the energy business myself and looking at safety versus expense, it's very, very expensive to have energy in California, but safety has to be the top priority.
Right.
So I look forward to seeing what comes out of the new emerging technologies. I also earlier this week or yesterday met with Julia Stornetta of Root Creek Water District and talked about just the water district overall, plans for expansion, SIGBA, and we had some concerns from residents over pricing and water quality discoloration. So I got a lot of that information. I'll be disseminating out to local residents there. That's all I have. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yeah, thank you. So good to be back. I do want to report that our office attended the Dolores Huerta event over at Madera Community College. It was well attended. Thank you, Carla, for attending in my place. And also a Stop the Hate workshop, which was hosted here in Madera City. And thank you again, Carla, for attending in my absence. And then I just wanted to thank Matt Treber in particular. We had some flooding that occurred over on 15 3/4, and there were some folks that were flooded. And when we reached out, we were told that it was high-speed rails project and that the expectation should be that, well, nothing gets done. And I said, well, that's not good enough. And some folks saw a different side of me. And so that area was cleaned within 24 hours. Those people were stuck out there and it wasn't ideal for them. So thank you to Matt for picking up the phone and calling. And I think since then there's a meeting with the executive director and the staff over at High Speed Rail to address some of those issues about expectations because we have high expectations here in Madera County. And
Absolutely.
So thank you to Matt for doing that. I really appreciated it.
There's good leadership right there.
And Sheriff, I could jump in real quick. I just want a quick plug for the sheriff's office that MaderaDamageReport.com. So anybody that's, incurred damage as a result of the series of winter storms, we want to report that online so that way we can get that damage over to FEMA. So I think that would include the folks that you were referencing there. So
Right.
big push to get that information out. So that way people do report their damage. So hopefully FEMA can come and provide some assistance for private property owners.
I
Again,
believe that.
MaderaDamageReport.com.
I believe that also includes farm damage to trees, down trees, and what have you. I've been hearing about thousands, literally thousands of down trees on every farm in Madera County, thousands of down trees. So that's an economic hit for our region. And I know that a lot of farmers are really suffering right now already due to the commodity price is so poor. But this is a big hit for them. So anyway, thank you for bringing that up. CAO?
Thank you, Chairman. The only thing I had to add is a save the date for the 16th Annual Madera County Law Enforcement Memorial. It will be on Tuesday, May 16th at noon in the usual place at the monument in Courthouse Park.
No report, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, with that, this meeting is adjourned. And you can set your own agenda review if you